I have been thinking about something uncomfortable lately.
Okay, so go on.
It's like, what if burnout isn't actually about working too hard?
That's not where I thought you were going.
I know, but stay with me because I keep seeing this pattern. People who are struggling, who have stopped showing up the way they used to, and the first word that gets whispered, lazy.
Absolutely right. They're kind of unmotivated, sometimes unfocused, and they just lose their edge.
Exactly. And the person who is burnt out, they start to believe it. They think maybe I just can't handle this anymore. Maybe I'm not cut off for it. They start losing their self trust, self esteem.
Exactly, which is wild because usually these are the same people who've been overperforming for years.
Indeed, that's what I can't stop thinking about. What if what we are calling laziness is something else? Something like breaking down.
Okay, so you mean physiologically, right?
I mean, what if your body is refusing to go along with something your mind is still trying to push through?
That's a risky question, man.
But why? We should know the reason.
That's because it threatens the whole productivity machine. Think about it. If burnout isn't a personal failure, if it's not about discipline or mindset at all, I think then we have to look at the systems that demand we override ourselves just to stay functional.
Yeah, that's exactly why I want to talk about it.
This is Universal Innotes, and I'm Soumya.
And this side man, the founder of Seven Seas of Wisdom. Today we are asking a question that might make you uncomfortable. What if burnout isn't laziness, but your body rejecting the life you are forcing it to live?
So let us introduce ourselves. I'm Soumya, and I'm a founder of CaseBreak, a research brand that helps marketers, CMOs, strategists grow faster by relying on the research of market and consumer behavior.
And the side man, founder of Seven Seas of Wisdom. I'm a writer, content creator, and healer. I have 5 years of writing experience and 2 years of my healing journey. I help women to find and connect with themselves. And today, we are asking a question that might make you uncomfortable. What if burnout isn't laziness, but your body rejecting the life you are forcing it to live?
And we are not here to give you any productivity hacks or tell you to meditate more.
And we are here to explore what burnout actually is biologically, structurally, and why it gets so catastrophically misunderstood.
And let's start with what most people get wrong.
So, here, the dominant story about burnout: you work too hard, you get tired, you need rest, maybe a vacation, maybe better boundaries, maybe therapy to work on your mindset.
And if you still can't bounce back, well, maybe you are just not resilient enough.
Exactly. It's framed as a temporary dip, a motivation deficit. Something you need to fix.
Which feels intuitive, doesn't it? Because it's simple, it's manageable, and it keeps the responsibility personal.
And it keeps the system innocent. So innocent.
That's the part people don't say out loud.
But here is where the story completely falls apart. The high performers burn out more, not less.
Wait, what? Say that again.
I meant to say high performers, the people who perform more, work more, become workaholics, or burn out more, not less.
Oh my god, so it's not about work ethic?
I don't really think so because it's not only about rest. Even when you take rest, you have a day off, you go in the park and have your me time or chat with your friends. It's still that fog, that burnout, that flatness doesn't go away. All those things stays, exhaustions and everything. Like it's stuck in the back of your subconscious mind.
Yeah, right? And actually, I have seen this. People mostly come back from vacation within weeks, sometimes within days, but they're right back where they started. And there's no point at all because even after those exhausting days, they take the break and they enjoy themselves. And when they come back thinking that now everything will get better, they will be back to their, old self, workaholic self, creative self. But no, they're like starting from zero. There was no advantage of taking any break. They still feel foggy.
Of course, because burnout doesn't behave like tiredness, and that fog, that's something you need to work on really, really hard to remove. It just don't vanish with just a vacation or one day off.
Wow. Okay, so explain that. What is this system we are talking about?
So now let's talk about what's actually happening in the body. Like there is the system called as HP axis, hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. It's your body it's your body's stress response system.
Oh, okay. So, uh, I think that's a fight or flight thing. The thing we mostly read about in self-help books and many other sources that tell us about fight or flight thing.
Kind of. The truth is that it's truly designed for the short burst of stress. The trait appear, your body mobilizes, and when the trait passes, your body means you recover.
Okay, all right. So it's either overreacting to everything or
Or shutting down completely. And when that happens, your energy regulation breaks. You can't able to lift your even a tiny fingers to do any stuff. Your focus breaks, mood breaks, and even taking breath feels too much to do. You just don't feel any energy to do anything, and all at the same time.
no wonder that burnout feels so physical because it literally feels like you're moving through concrete.
For real, it's not just about mental fatigue, it's dysregulation, and then there is your nervous system, and there is a lot of things in order to regulate your nervous system. It's so much there. So yeah.
Okay, so which is doing that? What do you think about it?
Like when you are under chronic stress, your sympathetic nervous system, the activation side, gets stuck on. It doesn't work that moment, and hence, in result, you are in hypervigilant mode. And hypervigilant mode, you are constantly thinking, scanning, or feeling there is always a threat, and you need to fight, flight, uh, literal escape or freeze. And it's literally so messed up thing because it not only mess your nervous system but your mind, your body, and of course your emotions. Everything is connected to everything. So yeah. And in flight freeze mode, you keep thinking about there is something that are going to hurt you, and you are either on constantly fight mode, you are going to fight, or constantly flight mode, you are running, escaping, hiding, and freeze, you don't know what, you are so emotionally numb.
Oh my god, that seriously sounds very exhausting. And it not only sounds exhausting, I can feel it to my gut because the way you put it in the right words, I can't thank you enough for doing this because it explained it to me on a very deeper level. And I have experienced this myself, and you're absolutely right.
I experienced this as well, and the main reason of hypervigilant is sometimes your unprocessed emotions and the trauma. Sometimes you are still stuck in the back of your subconscious mind when you were traumatizing by all the factors, by anything, by the event, and it it's stored in your body, your trauma, and sometimes it affects your nervous system in the form of hypervigilance. So eventually, your parasympathetic system, the raised handy digest side, just collapse. You go into shutdown, numbness, or disengagement. You just feel like you just don't know what's going on. You're too frozen to think anything straight, to do anything. You just became as good as dead sometimes.
Right, and that's what people call apathy.
Exactly. But it's not apathy, it's protection. Your body is trying to keep you alive by forcing you to stop. And sometimes it's forget that the thing is straight is already over and you are safe. Sometimes you need to make your body believe that you are safe in your environment. You are safe where you are. There is no threat, and that makes your nervous system to regulate sometimes.
Okay, so when someone says, I just don't can anymore, that means?
That means they are not lazy. They are in nervous system shutdown mode.
Okay, so I'm really enjoying this topic. So, there's one more piece here that I think people don't know about, and that's gut brain axis.
Unlike me, with your curiosity.
Okay, so there's a research showing that in burnout, your gut microbiota changes and you get low grade inflammation. You know, your vagus nerve, which is basically the communication highway between your gut and your brain, stops working properly.
And that affects your mood.
Yeah, and it includes energy and motivation because it doesn't come down from your brain downward to your stomach. No, it first starts from your stomach and then goes upward to your brain.
Which is exactly why just think positively doesn't work sometimes.
Exactly. Because it's not cognitive at all. It's not cognitive, it's actually very, very much biological.
So when we call this laziness,
We are putting a moral label on a psychological braking system.
that we love to do, we literally mess things up by labeling, putting things in box and judging them basically. Let's stay on that for a second because laziness is such a loaded word, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it gets applied the moment output drops, right? The moment someone stop talking and someone stop taking initiative, stop engaging, or stop producing at the same level they used to.
Even if there is no visible illness, even if they are still technically showing up.
But biologically, those are classic signs of energy conservation, like your body reallocating resources away from your non essential effort.
Because it is in trade mode.
Exactly my point. And the culture that moralize productivity and that ties your worth to your output, that about constant availability.
They can't recognize nervous system collapse. Like, to be honest, in my opinion, nervous system is the least thing many people care about.
No. They actually reframe it as character failure.
That's bleak.
Yeah, it is. But it also explains a lot, like why people feel so much shame before they can even say the words, I am burnout.
Because they have internalized the story that if they were just strong, more disciplined, and more motivated,
That they would be fine.
but they would not. Because, to be honest, the problem isn't them.
Okay, so earlier you said high performers burn out more. And I want to dig into that because it feels so counterintuitive.
It does, but burnout isn't caused by efforts alone, but sustained mismatch as well.
Mm, Mismatch between what?
Recognition between efforts and control, and between responsibility and authority, between how much you care and how much recognition or support you get, between your values and what system actually rewards.
So, high performers are valuable because?
Because they over identify with their role, they absorb system dysfunction personally, they compensate longer before breaking.
Yeah, and they keep owning when everyone has already been tapped out.
Exactly. And burnout emerges not when people stop caring, but
But when caring becomes biologically unsustainable.
and to be honest, you know what? I kept thinking about founders because they live like this mismatch constantly.
Hmm. And how so?
They are accountable to investors, to their team, and to the marketers, but they don't actually control most of the variables, and their identity is fused with the company's performance.
Yeah, and when companies struggles, they obviously feel so stressed, like very obviously, and they start to feel like they're failing.
And to be honest, some people worship their work. They they literally put their work on their one of the top priority, and the thought of stopping feels like collapse, not traced.
Yeah, that's the trap, isn't it? The nervous system treats work stress as existential threat, of course. Yeah. So it's very obvious, and it's literally a trap because our mind starts to connect it with the actual failure, and that's the biggest issue of this whole problem.
Indeed, and somehow recovery start to feel so unsafe.
Okay, so let's talk about why modern work makes this worse. Because it's not only individual mismatch, but there are structural things happening that actively prevent recovery.
Like what?
Three big ones. You know, there is role ambiguity or continuous cognitive load and perceived powerlessness.
Okay, so break those down.
Yeah, sure. Uh, Role ambiguity means clear expectations. You see, you don't know what good enough looks like. Yeah. So your nervous system stays in constant exhaustion mode. Like it always scans, always is uncertain. And this is the whole picture of it. This is on the deeper level.
That sounds too exhausting.
Yeah, it is. And then there's continuous cognitive load, um, that comes with digital availability, and that means your attention is fragmented all the time, and you are never fully in work. Let me tell you, you're never fully in work, but you are also never fully out of it.
So even on lighter weeks, you are still exhausted.
Yep, exactly. Because deep recovery requires actual disconnection, and we don't get that anymore.
Okay, but what about powerlessness?
Yeah, that's the big one, it's lack of autonomy, effort without control. Like you are just putting in effort constantly without any break or without any strategic break. Then it is neurologically toxic. If you are working hard but you can't influence outcomes, your stress has no resolution pathway.
That sounds too crazy. So it just accumulates.
Yeah, and this is why fewer hours don't fix burnout. No, literally, why wellness perks feel insulting, and why flexibility without boundaries make things worse.
Maybe because the system creates the stress.
Yep, and then it removes the mechanisms you would need to resolve it.
That's intentional, right? Or at least structurally embedded.
I think that's embedded. It's really embedded, or but that doesn't actually make it less harmful, you know. Okay, so what do we do with this?
To be honest, I really don't think we do anything. At least not in the way people want us to do.
You mean no 5 step plan?
Right, because I think the first move is just noticing, paying attention differently.
Hmm. Okay. And noticing what?
Where you are compensating for broken system, what feels effortful in a way it didn't before. What kind of rest doesn't actually restore you anymore?
Hmm. Those are some good questions.
And then maybe reframing. Ask yourself, is this exhaustion about workload or lack of control?
Am I tired, or is my nervous system stuck in threat mode?
What am I being asked to override in myself just to keep functioning?
I think there are also signals worth paying attention to, like loss of initiative without sadness, or detachment without relief, or what we can call it more like physical symptoms without clear cause. Yeah, exactly. These are the physical symptoms without clear cause, and people don't even notice it.
In that they are not personality flaws but information.
Yeah, and they are asking you to recalibrate personally for sure, but not, but also, yeah, structurally.
Which is honestly hard because most of the people don't have that much awareness, that much power to change the structure.
No, but they can stop internalizing it as personal failure, actually.
So, here, what I kept coming back to is burnout isn't a failure, it's not a weakness, it's not a lack of discipline or motivation.
Instead, it's a biological refusal to continue under unresolved strain.
Yeah, and the question isn't why can't people handle work anymore?
And the real question is, why do our systems require people to override their biology just to stay functional?
That we are not supposed to answer today.
No, but maybe it's the question we should all be sitting with.
Burnout isn't asking for motivation.
Instead, it's asking for recalibration. That's personal and structural.
So maybe the question to live with is this: what would it mean to listen to what your body is actually saying instead of forcing it to say yes?
Transform with us.